Thank you for joining me. I am deciding which low power variable optic I want to use for the upcoming PCSL 2-gun nationals. That sport is dominated by primarily close range shooting, but it is a hit factor sport with kind of paper targets and small A zones and steel targets out to 200 yards that can be no smaller than 8 minute of angle. So we'll be shooting something about 16 inches out to 200. And so it's dominated by primarily close range shooting, but with failing lighting conditions, it's to the point where I don't want to just rely on a red dot, and I don't love red dots with magnifiers, so I want to use an LPVO. This is my go-to, my standard for the last several years. This is a Nightforce NX-8 1:8x24 f1. Specifically, this one has the FC DMX reticle in it, and we also have an offset aim point T2 in a Rotopoint Gancho A30 mount. I like this scope because it is, and Nightforce makes a big deal out of being a reliable rifle scope that retains zero even with hard use. That's kind of the shtick behind them. So it's a great scope overall, and if I had to say, oh, general purpose, don't know what I'm going to be doing, but it involves shooting a 5.56 rifle, this is what I prefer. Front focal plane means the reticle does grow and shrink as you look at it, because it is a front focal plane scope. So at 1 power, it is not a fantastic aiming solution, but it's pretty good. At 1 power, this Vortex Razor HD Gen 2 is a really good optic. It is a second focal plane scope. The compelling things about that, the reticle is great at 1x, the dot is bright and doesn't flicker in the same way that a front focal 1:8 does. This isn't really a performance detriment, but it is certainly nicer, cleaner, and crisper. So for shooting primarily close, but with the capability to add some magnification, I think that this is the better optic. What concerns me is that I know this optic is tough because I have done horrendous things with it and it hasn't moved. It just has not. This optic does not inspire confidence in me because I have had it shift and I'm not sure if that was a mount problem or not. I'm not casting aspersions onto Vortex optics. This is just, this scope has, looks kind of rough and beat up, and I'm not sure if it's really functioning properly. So I'll take you through what I did to test whether or not this Vortex Razor and this Nightforce NX-8 were both retaining zero. That was done with my PCSL practical rifle or just general purpose 5.56 carbine, an LMT MRP monolithic upper receiver. So also if we're dropping it, we shouldn't see anything shifting or getting weird from that, or POI shifts caused by the bipod. Fired from an Atlas bipod with a rear bag, using match grade ammunition. This is ammo that I load with a 53 grain Sierra Match King and Vitavuri N130 powder, which is really a fantastic close range load for shooting inside of 300 meters. Even out of this 1-7 Cold Hammer Forged barrel, which is not spectacular, we're still seeing 30 round groups around 2 inches. So a good source of ammo, properly mounted optics. Follow along and we'll see how they both perform. Just going to document the mounting of the Nightforce here to the rifle. So all the rings are already tight. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we're just applying proper torque to the base. Not Loctited, so it's dry torque right now. I'm just going to make sure I'm holding positive pressure, get them kind of snug, put the torque limiter on to 65 inch-pounds. Holding positive pressure on the scope. And so you see those paint marks are likely not going to line up because this was mounted to another rifle previously. They are close, and that is properly mounted. So we'll put the bipod on the rifle and we will get this thing zeroed and show you what a 30 round group looks like. So our first shot, we're right about 1.5, and we are high, also about 1.5. So we'll come down to 1.6 because they're 2 10 mil clicks. right. So we're hitting left, we need to come right. Also 1.6. All right. I read that a little bit wrong. It is still only a 1 to 8 after all. So we come down 0.2, we still need to come right. Another 0.5. All right, so I don't remember if that's 10 or 11 shots. We're cleared out. Walk down range, take a look at what that last group looks like. And we'll see what adjustments we need to make. Try to get this as center as we can to shoot 30 shots. So this is with the Nightforce. Shot 1 over here. Initial estimate here. Shot 3. Brought it over. This is our last 10. We're going to bring it over. Left 0.2 and down. And we're going to leave the elevation alone actually because we're kind of wobbling between 0.1 and 0.2 and they're 0.2 clicks. So we're just going to go ahead and bring it left 0.1 and shoot our 30 shot group. And just to document, we have made our adjustment and we are at 0-0 after I've slipped the turrets on windage and elevation. So we'll be able to check that after we drop it just to make sure we don't accidentally move a click somehow. So we have our adjustments made. We're going to go ahead and shoot 3 strings of 10 shots all on the same target and establish what the rifle is actually doing, where the center of this gun of fire is, so that we have a baseline. Our first 10 round string. We'll reload, let the gun cool off, not that it needs it. All right, we'll set up for our second 10 round string. Pre-dropped with the NX-8. There was our second 10 round group. We'll go ahead and load up for the last one. All right, and our last 10 round group before we put this thing in the cartridge case and drop it. All right, so there's 30. We'll go down and take a look. We'll put this in the case. We'll drop it a few times and see if it shifts. All right, so this is our 30 round group. I'm guessing that's a shade hovering around 2 inches, 430 rounds, which is pretty good for a cold hammer forged barrel and that ammo. So, and we can see that's pretty much centered. We would call that zeroed. So what we'll do now is we will put up a fresh target over this one, so we still have our baseline group, and we don't have any distorted aiming point. So we'll have a fresh target. We will put that thing in the case. We will drop it from approximately 3 feet on the side, and we'll see if this changes. This is how the rifle is set up in the case. In this case, this is a Magpul DACA hard case, and it is set up, this is kind of like best case scenario for how you're traveling, so it is pretty well protected by the foam. And we're not trying to be abusive or really do anything to the tube or the housing or anything on the Optic. We're just trying to see if the erector system will stay in place after we drop it from about that high. So not really hard use, just can you fly to a match and expect your stuff to still be zeroed? All right, so we're simply going to drop the rifle from approximately 3 feet in the case. We're going to do that 3 times. Now we'll pull it out, shoot a 10-shot group, and see if anything's moved. Just documenting after dropping it in the case, we made sure the turrets are, in fact, still at 0-0. This is our 10-shot group after dropping the rifle 3 times on its left side for about 36 inches. It's about 40 degrees. This rifle is very dirty and it is dry, so that's why it's kind of sticky, but she still runs. Oh yeah, no speed 8 power. There's 10 rounds after dropping it. We'll go down range, we'll take a look and see if anything moved. So here's our post-drop test 10-shot group. And we're gonna pull that off. So we do have one kind of drifting over here to the left, but we're gonna see if that still falls roughly within our first 30-round group. So we're just gonna peel this top target off, which is of course always fun to do with a camera in your other hand. And you can see here that we have one that's moving just a little bit outside of the box, but not significantly so. 30-round groups will go up or down by 15-20%, so I wouldn't really call that problematic. And so we will go ahead and test basically what you can see, by the way, all 40 of these rounds just start to look more and more like a circle. There's not a big aggressive shift outside of the box initially established. So we're gonna go ahead and mount up the Vortex, zero it, and we'll see what that does. All right, so again, we're just documenting the mounting of this. This is the Vortex in the Badger C1 mount. Just making sure I got good forward pressure. 65 inch-pounds, 65. Hit again, make sure that we're truly there. Of course, the whole stack come undone because it's not the greatest thing ever. And there we go. We'll get a rough zero, or we'll get this thing zeroed, and then we'll repeat the same thing. The reason why I'm really considering this Razor Gen 2, it's a second focal plane scope, so the illumination's a little better, the eye box a little more forgiving, so for a mostly close range match, pretty fast and dirty. I don't really need to hold over much. Longest target's 150 meters, so if I zero at 100, I don't really have to hold over. So this should be a little easier for me to go fast and nasty at close range while still maintaining the capability to zoom up if I need to in case of some bad lighting or low contrast on targets. So let's set it up. All right, this is the Razor 1-6 initial shooting. So we're gonna try to get a zero on this thing. And so what we got. I do miss the 8 power for things like this, I'll tell you what, even though it's not strictly necessary, it is much easier to shoot cruise that NX-8. And I have a sneaking suspicion we're way off, so I'm going to shoot at some steel here at about 130. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's way, way to the left. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and bring that way to the right. Like that's crazy. All right. Are we on steel? That was a little too much. Push it left a little. Come up as well. This is really fun when you can't feel your fingers because it's 40 degrees and I was not ready for that. Alright, just come up. Alright, so we're on steel. So we should be at least on paper somewhere. Having the extra 2 power on the 1 to 8 would be so much nicer because I know I'm somewhere in this repair center, or somewhere in this target rather, but I'm not sure where. And if I could see it, I can't really mill it out because this reticle is just too coarse for that. It's like I only have 1 mil references. So what I have to do, I'll break the camera down and show you. Just do that on safe. So what I've got to do is get behind, well, I could walk down range and estimate it, but to save some time, what I've got to do is, okay, so I can see that there was one up in the head, and it is right about 3 mils high and about a ½ mil to the left. There's a TMR reticle in that loophole spotting scope. So that means I gotta come down 3 mils and right 0.5. Down 3. So 1, 2, 3. Right, we'll call it 0.6. I'm always right. All right. Again, can't really see it through the 6 power, so we'll just flip over here to the spotting scope. Now to the right about 0.4. So we'll come left, which is push or away from me. And we'll see. Get back on the glass, big glass I should say. And we're close enough we can do a 10-shot group. So I'll pause this and fill 10 rounds in that mag. All right, so our first 10-shot group with the Razor Gen 2 1 to 6. All right, so there's 10. We'll walk down and take a look. All right, so this is with the Razor 1 to 6, just getting our initial 0. What was initially concerning also, first shot aiming here, landed somewhere like there, way to the left. So I moved over, shot at these steel plates. Those are about 12 inches, and the first shot at that left steel plate landed right at that steel post to the left side, so way off. I had to bring it a lot to the right and a lot up, which is concerning because I had previously mounted this to this rifle taking it off, and it shouldn't be perfect return to zero, but it should return with an IPSC target. So mildly concerning. First shots on paper after we were on steel, up here in the head. Brought it down and right some, initially too much. Brought it to the left a little bit. We need to come down another 0.2, and we're gonna leave windage alone. So we're gonna come down a click. I have two 10th clicks, so come down a click, and we're gonna slip the turrets to zero, shoot a 30 round. All right, so we've slipped our turrets to 0, 0. We're gonna go ahead and throw the caps back on, shoot our 30 round group. All right, so we've got our first 10 shot group, made our final adjustment. We're gonna shoot 3 10 shot groups and look at a 30 round target. That's our first group. We'll fill the mag again. Second 10 shot group with the Razor. We'll just go ahead. Second 10 shot group down, fill the mag, and we'll do our last 10 shot group before we drop it. Third 10 shot string before we drop the Razor 1 to 6. Glad we're done with that because I can almost no longer feel my trigger finger. So we'll go down range, we'll take a look, and then we will drop this thing. Here's our 30 shot group before dropping it, and consistent, roughly the same size as we shot before with the other Optic. And it biases a little bit to the left. I would probably bring that 0.2 to the right looking at that, but for right now, because I don't want to cause any problems, I'm going to leave that there, drop the rifle on its side, and see if it moves from that initial group. So that's our pre. What I'll do is I'll outline this, and that'll identify the box that we expect the next 10 round group to fall within. All right, so here's the rifle with the Razor 1 to 6 packaged nicely in the Magpul docket case. We're going to shut this, drop it, and see what it does. Vortex Razor 1 to 6, the docket case. You give this thing a couple or 3 drops. And just so you can see, turrets are still at 0. This will be our 10 shot group after dropping the Razor 1 to 6. Forward assists are a bad idea, never use them. This is our 10 shot group after dropping it. Let's go down range and take a look. This is our 10 shot group after dropping the Razor 1 to 6 from 3 feet 3 times. And so initially kind of mildly concerning that we have, it's over here to the top left of the 10 ring, but we did have a base 0.2 offset in our 39 group. So if we peel that top turret off, plug it in, and do it with one hand, we see that we're not really significantly outside of what we initially shot to the point where I'd really worry about it. It's, you know, that center group maybe has moved to 10th, which is not really that's within the noise of the sample size of the group. So that's good. The moral of the story is that this cost me, you know, if you have a question about your equipment, if you're not sure about it, A, mount it as well as you can, and then B, this cost me, you know, to do this with one scope cost me 50 rounds of ammo, which is certainly, you know, not nothing. But if I had found a problem with my equipment, I would rather find out about it now and spend $50 testing it versus losing a match and all of the preparation and travel and expense that goes into that because I didn't want to put my gun in a case and drop it and burn some ammo zeroing it and making sure it's good.